Come on. Let's connect.
There he is. There he is.
There we
Can
are.
you
How are you
hear
doing?
me, Peter?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Amazing.
Right.
I get to be on with the GOAT.
Come on.
The man who started it, the man who started it all. No, seriously, like
Yeah.
I'm on Instagram one day. I don't know how long ago this was, maybe 9 months ago. I'm like, who is this guy? Like, what is going on? I'm like, but this is pretty good stuff. Like, I keep reading. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that. I'm using this. So, yeah, I've told a lot of people about you. You've done a lot of great things for tennis. So it's really cool to be on your show.
I
Just
can't think. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so honored. As you said, I know you did a couple of lives with my friend Joe Myers. He did one. I watched that one. That was really good and constructive and fun. That was awesome. And then functional tennis. And, everybody has their, the guys on Instagram, everybody has their own touch on what they do, right? So Joel just puts his coaching on, functional tennis, just post what people send them. And then, I started a year ago. And I started 5 years ago on Facebook, and I have a group there with 15,000 coaches, where I started the idea of sharing things. When I was a coach, there was nothing out there. So I started all that on Facebook. And so I thought on Instagram, I want to do like a hybrid account where I put a little bit of my coaching in, maybe like 30%. And the rest is like from the best of the best. I try to get that, so I thought that's going to work. And so far, so good. So it's an honor to have you here, Coach Smith.
Yeah, trust me, it's super cool. I told my kids at dinner tonight, hey, I've made it. Like,
No, well, no,
I've made it. It's good. So hopefully I can say something that is meaningful to someone.
It's going to be amazing. So yeah, as I said, first of all, like, thank you so much for doing it. I think it's number 57. Right before COVID, I started with the lives. And I thought how to entertain the people. So, I have some good connections still, but then all the players from Serbia and Bosnia, my friends, Damir Zumur, Laovic, name it, Laszlo, Jerry, they all said, yeah, we're going to do it. So, and then when people saw that I have some good guys on there, and I had like Philip Pusses, Eneko, and I have you on here. So it's an honor, Andy Brandy, Sanchez. So it's good. It's good. All right.
Yeah,
so let's start.
Paul was great.
Paul, I love Paul.
Such a humble guy, man, and his experience with the real GOAT, I guess, is pretty cool to hear all that stuff.
Yeah, I have to tell you, when it's like almost number 60 now. When I was nervous with him, obviously he coached Sampras and Federer and Henman and all many grades, right? But now I can see why the players love him so much. As soon as he started to talk, I was like hypnotized, so he's so calm and, like the way he expresses himself, like just a class act and humble, as you said, so that was fun. All right, guys, let's see. Hopefully, the connection
is it good?
Now, can you hear me again? Yeah,
we're breaking up a little bit. I got 2 bar. Yeah, okay?
I got 2. Let's see if we can, should be, let's try. Should be good. So,
okay.
Peter, tell us a little bit how, I asked everybody, how did you get into tennis when you were younger?
Yeah, I mean, I was the youngest of 5 kids. Our driveway was like kind of the perfect shape of a tennis court. And my mom strung a net across it, and we started like playing paddleball on it. I grew up in Connecticut, and so, I was playing hockey and skiing in the winter, and then in the summer, my dad played tennis, and everyone kind of played tennis. All the kids played tennis, and I was the youngest by far, and I was just kind of traveling around. Hey, I was just traveling around. My dog's going crazy, and I would just kind of follow everyone around, and so, it was just something I did in the summertime. And I was like, I can remember my mom like saying, "I play like a girl. You play like a girl because you have a two-handed backhand." And my brother arguing with her, "No, Borg's got a two-hander. Connor's got a two-hander." She's like, "Nuh-uh. Girls have two-handers. You have a one-hander." I was like, "Uh-uh." So I stuck with the two-hander. It was my best shot. So
Nice. And then you through the junior years, and then you went
Well,
to
I had this kind of had this magical life because when I was 14, my dad retired and my mom said, "We're moving to San Diego." And then she moved to La Costa. She wanted the family to live in La Costa so I could play tennis with Pancho Segura. But I mean, I wasn't anything great. And Pancho kind of took me under his wing and we just had a ball. I mean, we were betting, Lorne Kuehl was there, Bobby Riggs. I mean, the
Nice.
club was owned by the mob. I mean, there's no way anybody could like have the same childhood I had. I mean, I can literally remember playing a pro set with Pancho for $2,000 in 1980. That's like 10,000 today. I mean, could you imagine a 16-year-old kid playing for $10,000 today? But it was just something the club did, and everybody was betting. You would bet $20 on every set you played, and it was crazy, but it was a great experience. And then I was really fortunate enough to go to Long Beach State, and I was like an okay junior. I was like 20 in Southern Cal, but nothing great. And then I started to really kind of blossom there. I played #1 at Long Beach State, made the NCAA tournament, and started playing, the satellite tours after 4 years. I didn't graduate incredibly, and I just went out and played, and I was okay. I was like 360 after a year, and in today's world, everyone thinks they're good at 360. At 360 then, I was kind of a failure. My dad was like, "What are you doing?" And and I played Michael Chang, who grew up 5 doors down from me in a satellite in Kansas. It was so hot. I mean, he hit the ball so slow, but I couldn't get to any of them. He beat me like a drum. So he's like 7 years, 6, 7 years younger than me. Grew up like blocking a half away from me, and he beats me bad. And I walk off the court, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm going back to school. And I went back to school. My dad's like, "Yeah, go back to school, get a degree." And I went back to school, and like first month back, my old coach Larry Easley called me in, and he said, "Hey, I'm quitting tomorrow, and I'm going to tell him to hire you." And I was like, "Huh? We're like barely getting along." And he's like, "No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine." And they hired me incredibly.
Wow.
And I started doing it, and I was probably going to go back out and still play. I had no points coming off in the first semester, and I just fell in love with it right away. I was like, wow, I really didn't know how much I enjoyed helping people, and tennis being the way you help people, it clicked with me right away. So there I went. I mean, 4 colleges later, and it was just a magical 32 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. As you said, like to help people. That was one of my questions. What made you fall in love, with teaching? Because I was reading you started very young, to teach, and that must be something that kept you in it. And like I always tell, my biggest achievements coaching is when you get a kid that doesn't have confidence, like we are life coaches, right? So and then if you get them to the point where they feel comfortable, they get self-esteem. Tennis is magical. You can get so many kids to do great things, and especially like in the mental part, and as I said, I had a girl, she started with me. I always tell that story, like, she was a little bit bigger, and people were bullying her, and she stuck to it, lost weight, and played college after. Like it's amazing what tennis can do.
Yeah, I mean, I had 3 lessons this afternoon. A 14-year-old boy is one of the better players in Southern Cal. He's improved so much in the 6 months I've worked with him. And, a 17-year-old girl who just got a full scholarship, and she's just so happy. And another 17-year-old girl that's, trying to figure it all out. And, each one of them is just incredible. But I think tennis like gives you this incredible vehicle to help people. And for me, it's not always about forehands and backhands. It's about how tennis helps them off the court achieve so much. And, they can, they hit tennis is such a tough sport. I mean, if they can conquer tennis, they can kind of do
Conquer
anything.
life.
And and you just got to transfer it to other parts of life when it's such a gateway sport, because you're out there by yourself and you got to figure it all out. And when they do, and you can help them in any way, is 1%, 2% matter, you can get them over the hump and show them how to do things. It's pretty cool. And that's really what drives me.
Talking about juniors, okay, and talking a little bit about juniors, and the dropout rate is like, when you look at a girl, like you said, you had 2 girls, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. As a 17-year-old, usually girls drop out a little bit quicker than the guys, right? So I think it's our responsibility as coaches, especially in the junior years, to keep it as interesting as we can, because a lot of kids drop out after 15. That's
and I think the hard, sometimes you're just like a translator out there. You gotta say like, that stinks, but this is good, and don't worry about that. Don't worry about a bad line call. Don't worry about that loss. Go get them in the back draw. Figure it out. And when they really get over that hump and see, and figure out the competition side of it and how to use their game correctly, it's that twinkle in their eye. I mean, the first girl, I mean, she feels so good. She feels like she has a place, and, and they're just figuring it out, and to help them decode it. I think today's kids just, it's not that great. They, I mean, we saw a ranking once a year, we never even knew how anybody did. I mean, they overthink everything. And so, it's just great to kind of just be a sounding board for them. Sometimes you just listen.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So let's get to the years with USC. So when you won all the championships, so Andy Brandy is one of my mentors, so I got the chance, when I was younger, I could have played, but I didn't want to leave my family, and US is far away from Germany, so I got the chance now, like 2 years ago, with Andy Brandy in LSU, where he is now with his son as a co-coach. I got a little insight about college life, about, what they have there, how they train, and I was so fascinated, and the how professional everything runs, what the guys, the players, if they really want it, how they get everything they want. They say, I want to work on this. If there's a kid that's really talented and wants it, they get it, and everything is so professional. Mark Kovacs and Alistair McCaw were helping, so it's really professional. So from 2009 to 12, I think you won the NCAAs, right?
Yeah.
So how did you what I found and saw, like how did you keep everybody over such a long time, hungry, working as a team, doing everything they need to do? How did you do that? I mean, for me, it's like crazy, 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I had some incredible team members, incredible leadership. Robert Farrow's #1 in the world in doubles. Steve Johnson, who's had a great pro career. Robert was part of the first 2 years. Steve was part of all 4 years. And, they really believed in me and really followed me and really, believed in everything I was doing. And when you have that kind of buy-in, it's easier. But, at a school like USC, when you win an NCAA championship, they do make a really big deal about it. But, they're winning a couple every year, 2 or 3. Men's water polo was winning all the time when we were there. Other sports were winning. It just wasn't, like they made a big deal about it, but not too big a deal. And I remember first practice, first day of school of the next year after winning an NCAA title, I would play a highlight reel of the match, of the season. We were put together a highlight reel that was super, like, all right, guys, it's in the past. Like, nobody cares. I don't care. That's then. Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's do it again. And once it got going, after we won the second, then it was really like a train just rolling. And Stevie and Daniel Wynn and guys were coming in and out. I mean, we had like 7 of those guys in the top 500. So,
Yeah.
Emilio Gomez, Roberto Quiroz, Yannick Hanfman, all these guys were just Eric Johnson, just amazing people, amazing players. And, it's just, those guys and keeping them going. They all believed in me. They all believed in the coaches. I had great help with coaching with Brett Macy and George Husak, but it just went. And, it's something you work at every day and something I'm extremely competitive. I love to compete. I just love it. And, that was just the ultimate, to compete like that. So, those guys really took it.
Yeah. And then I know Emilio Gomez, when I went 2008, a couple of my friends played for San Diego State University.
Yeah.
Benedict Strong, he's from German guy. And Juan Gomez, Emilio's brother, was there. But obviously, I guess he didn't take it as serious as I put it this way. He didn't take it as serious as Emilio. That's how we keep it on camera. And it was it's so fun. And that was my first inside. I was like a month in San Diego, and a couple of other guys were there. My friends who were playing. It was fun. That was really good times over there.
San Diego, not a bad place. San Diego State, woo.
Oh yeah.
You could do worse for a month.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh yeah. La Jolla Beach treated me well too, so that was not bad.
Yeah, that's a special place. Yeah, I mean, La Costa, just amazing. Just amazing. Amazing place.
Yeah. Great place. That was good times. So, Peter, to have such a success, right? So I'm a coach as well, and when I had I was talking to Brian Boland, I had it at one of my conferences. One thing stuck out, what he said, you always pick one thing from everybody. So and he said when he had his success as a college coach, empathy is like the big word, like empathy, to get to know your players. So to that, as you said, like as Paul Annacone said too, the team members have to trust you. You have to trust the team members, and that's what he said about Federer too. He picks wisely who he has, but when he trusts someone, everything works and is like a machinery. And this is one important thing I wanted to talk to you about, like empathy. When you look in the coaching world and regular club coaches and in general, I found a lot of times, people don't look deeper into why kids do something. Some people tend to scream quickly, on the court or get angry. But I think this is so important, and that's a big message. You have to dig deeper into any player you have to get the last piece out of them. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a corny saying, and I think it's maybe used too much today, but I would take a step further than empathy. I would say love. When our teams were really going strong, I remember a coach came up to me after we won, and I can't remember 2012, 2010, but I remember it was in Athens, Georgia. I think it was 2012. And he said, man, your players, they just love each other more than anybody else. And, in raising 3 boys, I think it helped me to be able to open up and really love them like that. And those players to this day, when I see them, it's, I love you.
Kids.
Yeah, I love them. I mean, they're just a part of my heart.
Yeah.
And, we did so much together, and they gave me everything. They just gave it to me. And then they let me do what I wanted to do, and vice versa. I mean, just the things where, I can just remember some of those NCAA matches where I was like, dude, you got more in you. Trust me. Push through this. Mm-hmm. And they would. And you could, that relationship, that power that you have as a coach is really amazing. And for them to trust you like that. And, you know, I learned over the years through failure, like, hey, I need to take control of certain matches.
Mhm.
Certainly not Stevie. Stevie just took care of himself. But with other
Yeah,
guys, you know,
unbelievable career.
you had to make calls. Hey, kick, serve, and volley. Hey, grind this guy down on his backhand side. Hey, his forehand's going to miss after the 10th forehand. Whatever, and you just got to stay on it,
Yeah,
and to be that involved. And I remember when we won in 2014, Max DeVroom, man. It sounds crazy, but he was just hugging me and kissing me and saying thank you, and it was like this amazing feeling that we had, and it's
yeah,
just it's just so that love you have for it. And obviously it's a little bit different with juniors, but that openness that you have for their whole life. Hey,
yeah,
how's this going? How's that going? What's going on here? What's going on there? Like, obviously you're not going to get, you're never going to be their friend, but
yeah,
to show them that you care, like
yeah,
people don't care about what you have to say until you really care for their whole being, and you got to care for their whole being. And, I think when we're out there, like, teaching an hour lesson, I think it's really easy to like look at the watch, or, start thinking about this or start thinking about that. But when you like really dive into somebody and their game and how they are,
yeah,
then time just goes by so quickly. I
yeah,
mean, I taught that one 14-year-old today, and I was like, man, we've been out here 45 minutes. It seems like 10.
yeah.
And, so it just, when you kind of have them, like, yeah, you can make a difference in their life. It's just, like the one girl was late, the third lesson. I was like, hey, don't worry about it. You're the last lesson,
Yeah.
and I just stayed with the other girl, and I'm like, hey, what didn't we work on? She's like, serves. And we just spent another 10, 15 minutes working on serve. And it always doesn't work out like that. And today was a pretty easy day with 3 lessons, but it's, you gotta go deeper, and
Yeah,
you really gotta, and that's when the magic starts to happen.
totally agree with you. And unfortunately, like and especially in the tennis industry, in the coaching industry, I feel like, a lot of guys are just out there. I hate to say it, but they're just out there to give lessons, and and it's become too much of a business than the personal like connection. So no, that was
Well,
important for me as well.
I,
That's
I,
so
yeah, I mean, I think we get a little stuck with the hourly rate, right?
yeah, yeah,
Whatever you're making an hour, it's, it's, if you put money first, you're not going to be
not going to be
successful. That's
successful.
all I can say. You're
Yeah,
just not, and
yeah,
you're not going to get any joy out of it. And
yeah,
the best stories I have sometimes have nothing to do with tennis,
yeah,
and just helping kids overcome certain adversities, and
yeah,
enabling them, and then telling them, hey, like, you know one of the kids I said today, I was like, hey, I'll always be here. You have a
yeah,
problem in college, call me.
yeah,
I one of my players called me last week about his girlfriend. Hey, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that. And I was, and I just was like, hey man, why are you calling me? And he goes, coach, you always gave me great advice. And I was like, hey,
yeah,
thank you for trusting me.
yeah.
uh you know and that, you can't put a price tag on that, and that's very special for
No, I
me.
totally agree. And then yeah, and the reward you get is like if you put all the love in, people become loyal. That's another thing I found out over the years. If you like 99%, like if you put everything in there you have, you're gonna get that back twice. So yeah, that was good. All right, Peter. So college tennis, I had Alexander Vasco on there, a friend of mine who played for San Diego State, right? Made it
Yeah,
pro
he
and played.
broke our heart. He beat us one year at San Diego State when I was at Pepperdine. We were the 3 seed. I mean, I know if Alex can hear me say broke my heart, he is still smiling at that. He would like to break my heart and put it on the court and step on it. But yeah, they came back and beat us when we were the 3 seed, one of the biggest upsets in NCAA history. And yeah, Alex, man, he was a bruiser.
I did not know that. I just wanted to point that out.
No, that's fine. They're all
Yeah,
good memories,
yeah,
the good and the bad. They're all
yeah.
good.
Then what I wanted to ask you is, so Alex said, when we were talking, those 4 years, You know, colleges became more professional, and he took it as a stepping stone to become pro. So what I wanted to ask is, what is different when you look at your college kids? Like, for example, Stevie's transition. You know, he won everything in college, right? And you said, like, you know, when he became pro, he started to lose some matches. So, and I was reading in some of the interviews he did before, you know, that's not easy. That wasn't easy on him because he wasn't get used to it, right? So what is it when you look at college tennis, the best kids out there, and on the tour, let's say challenger level and higher level?
What is what?
What
Sorry.
is like the difference in you know, what makes it so hard to transition into that pro level? What do those guys maybe do a little bit better still until you arrive there when you come from college?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you go to college, you get to do a lot of things on your own. So for the first time, a lot of these guys are making decisions on their own, and
Hmm.
for a lot of them, sometimes they make the wrong decisions, and you go out at night, or or sometimes they make the right decision and really get involved in academics.
Hmm.
One of my players, Jakob Poldma, was top 10 in the world ITF. He said, "Coach, I'm coming for 2 years." And he fell in love with school and, ended up being number one in his law school class. But
Hmm.
when they graduate, I mean, the pros are just so committed, and they just take every ounce of it out, and they all have a way to win. You're working with Sam and Stevie,
Hmm.
like a lot of people talk about, like, oh, Stevie's backhand this, but like his serve and forehand and movement and his intangibles are like crazy good, like crazy good. And
Yeah,
you
I
look at all
saw
those guys in
it.
the top 100, top 200, sometimes, they're not the best players, but they know how to hold serve,
Hmm.
and they figure out a way to hold serve, and they keep holding serve, and then somebody gets tied at 4-all, and they're going after it, and that kind of knowing who you are. I mean, I think that's
Hmm.
a big part about life, right? Like, you're not successful in life until you really
No,
understand who you
yes,
are as a person.
yes,
When you
yeah,
understand who you are, like, you figured it out. Like, hey man, this is what I want to do. I want to help people. I
yeah.
mean, you're doing an incredible job with it. Like, for
Thanks.
me, like, I love helping individuals, and and so these guys on the tour, like, hey, they figure out their game. I mean, look, obviously, like, guys like Sam and Steve are just they're freakishly good athletes.
Yeah.
Stevie's 6'3", and just sports. But he's super successful in so many different things. I mean, Sam's 6'6", man. That guy breaks my wrist when he hits his forehand. I mean, he hits it so hard. So, yeah, I mean, being a great athlete and being tall certainly doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
So you were talking about the serve, so this is one thing I wanted to ask you, like, during the college years, or even like with Stevie and with Sam, like how much of, let's say, college years, like the serve, this is the only thing you can practice by yourself. Like, you can work on it whenever. I find all the junior years, there's rarely a kid that works efficiently on their serve, like, and gets out there and practices it and does everything, commits to it, serve, recovery step, and then, like, I think that's the most underrated practice thing in the tennis world. I don't understand it, because that's something every player can but do by himself.
There's two things you control on the court: your serve and your attitude.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
Everything else, you're playing off something.
yeah.
But I just think it's the way of the world. Like, I grew up playing against a wall. I'd hit against the wall for hours on end. I
Same,
mean, I'd
same
make
here.
up
Yeah.
games. I mean, I played
Overheads
all,
hitting on the floor when the
yeah,
ball comes out.
I played against every top player's son. I'd beat them. I'd play them sets. I had this, much better imagination than I do now. But I think too many things are scripted for these kids, and
Yeah.
and that's a bummer for them, because it's hard for them to focus. But for me, I play games with the serve. And I used to have my team. I mean, I came up with this game. You know, I should film
Tell
it
me
for
about it.
you.
I want
So,
to hear it because I want to learn new things.
yeah, you put targets out, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think quality is so much more important than
Yeah, and
quantity, right?
quantity. Yeah.
You know, so these kids, you know, a lot of times they go practice a serve and they start screwing around. So I'm like, for me, like I always got to make things dynamic, competitive, like
Yeah.
get them involved. And so I put, you know, usually 3 or 4 targets out, you know,
Mm-hmm.
a T serve, a body serve, a out wide serve, something like that. And if they hit the target, they get 5 points. If they
Mm-hmm.
get near the target, they get 1 point. If they get it in, they get 0. And if they miss, they get -1. And
Take
I
one
do
off.
this
Yeah.
game all the time with my students. And a lot of times, you know, maybe it's just me and them. And they still, like, I get a kick out of it. Like, hey, they still think I'm a decent player. And they still think, hey, it's good to beat Coach Peter. And
Yeah.
so I'm playing them and, you know, and I'm talking it up. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, but they're always in the game because, you know, you hit the target, you get 5. And
Yeah.
we just do 3 rounds. You go T, body, wide, and 3 rounds on each side. And then you each have a score and you're competing against each other. I mean, you can even do like 3 people, or you can do 4, 2 on each side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to have a coach because sometimes they get a little crazy,
Yeah.
but you know, or sometimes, oh, it's this, but they're really focused. And so they hit 9, 18 serves, but those 18 serves are more like, you know, 100 serves because they're so focused. They're trying so hard to make that shot.
Yeah.
And you know, you do that with first serve and second serve. And in today's game, especially in the pros, they got to hit a really good serve out wide
Yeah.
now, or good serve, second serve tee, because you know, you see these guys run around and smack that forehand inside in or inside out. It's so impressive when Stevie or Sam does that, and it's just amazing. So, you know, I love a game like that. I'll film it for you in the next couple of days, and
I would,
I'll
I
put
would,
it
I would
somewhere.
love it. Everything you
Yeah,
have, please send it to me because, as I said, I want everybody in the world to get new ideas. That was one of my
yeah,
thoughts. You know, when I started like 5 years ago, I wanted to have a platform where as well people in underprivileged areas can access
right,
things too, right? So this was for me important. You know, that you put out, you know, like not like a drill or like, you know, Joel does great job with teaching. There's so many great
right.
coaches out there, you know, and then they break it down and the kid in Africa, maybe they can't afford a coach, but they see things. And that was one of my main intentions, that people who can't afford it, they can get something out of it as well, you know? So
Yeah, and even this old guy over here in
yeah,
Long Beach, California, he's getting stuff. I mean, I tell coaches all the time, I'm like, just go to Tennis House, dude. You're set. Like, you know, you you can make a lot of money off this guy. Like, you all of a sudden you're a pretty good coach. You know,
yeah,
they're like,
thanks.
oh, where'd you get that one? Well, don't tell the kids that, but hey, you know, tell each other. But you know, and that is true. Like, you know, Instagram,
Yeah,
there are some negative things about it. We can,
obviously,
but
yeah, if you use it too much. Yeah.
there is some amazing things, like, you know, and so I've always thought, oh God, should I do this? Should I do that? And you know, but I've got a couple good ones that, you know, I might even be able to, like, you know, I've got a great drill for, like, nobody, like the feeling of hitting in front. And
Hmm.
you know, you steal something from everybody, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
normally every once in a while you come up with a great idea, but I don't know if I thought of this or I saw it somewhere, but like everybody doesn't have the feeling of like hitting the ball out in front. So what
Yeah.
I do with a
Where it
lot of my
is.
students is I stand behind them and
Hmm.
toss the ball behind them and make them go out to it and hit it. And they're
Hmm.
like, I'm like, now do you know what it feels like to hit the ball out in front? Because hitting the ball, that contact point, is so crucial.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm like, okay, you can look at me, that's fine. But I'm standing behind them tossing balls. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, yeah, your contact point's like 6 inches behind you. You can't play effective tennis like this.
I
Here,
like
this is
that.
what it feels like to get it out in front. And, you know, that's one I'll send to you, you know, and it's just, you know, it's just little things like that. And, you know, you're out on court and for me, I'm always trying to think, how can I help this kid?
Yeah,
How can I make this better? Or even more important, like in a group situation, like how can I make these kids better?
yeah.
And all that stuff is so important. So
So, so like, that's my point of view as well. Like, I think it's so important. Obviously, no one can replace the years of coaching, right? So if someone coaches 20 more years, I mean, they have seen 20 more years of scenarios. So it's undeniable. So I always respect coaches who are a long, long, long time in the business. And especially every coach has their own toolbox, how to fix little things, right? So,
right.
so that's for me so important that that those toolboxes, I call them, the drawers where you pull out. And I found, like, the guys that are long in the business, they've seen so much, and they have a pretty good toolboxes to fix certain things. So that's why it's always nice to see new things. And one thing I wanted to say, like, I wanted to thank as well, obviously, when I put things out, 30% is mine, but 70% I get from all the great guys. I asked them permission to share, like Joel, 2 Minute Tennis, everybody who sends stuff in. It's like a big family. So I wanted to
Yeah,
credit. That's
yeah.
all up to them. I'm just a messenger, and I put a little bit of my stuff out. But it's
No, and
amazing what.
you're great like that. I mean, really, how good is Ryan? I mean, Ryan is,
Yeah,
yeah, he is amazing. Wow, this guy
yeah,
in Connecticut. I mean,
yeah.
it's incredible. It's
Yeah, it's
just like came across him like, dude, wow, what is going on here?
good
You are
coaching.
good. Yeah, just good coaching, and you never know where you're going to get a hold of it. And
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, for me, I'll be tossing balls when I'm 80 years old, and it's just kind of what I do. And a lot of other aspects in life, but you understand that, like, this is your kind of path in life, and it's not. Yeah, it's an honor and a pleasure to do it all.
yeah. And as I said, if you ever have anything, please send me stuff over. I will be honored. And then hopefully when I see you when the COVID goes away, hopefully soon. Like, my son is 5 now, so I feel like a little bit better traveling. So I went to Delray Beach because, like, my friends were playing there, Damir
Right.
Zumor, Ante Pavic, all those guys that I play on tour. So I meet you soon at one of the tournaments. That will be fun.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I would just say this, like, for all the juniors, like when when Sam and Steve, you know, practice, when they practice with the younger kids, when they practice a lot with my boys. I have three boys that all play and love tennis, and I feel very blessed that they all loved tennis, still love tennis, and they really try and enjoy practice. And I think watching the Australian Open or wherever, U.S. Open, Wimbledon, you're out there on the court with all these guys, and they just they find ways to really enjoy it on day-to-day basis. And
Yeah.
we do, like, but like like they know themselves. Like Sam doesn't maybe love to, like, do the conditioning part, so he just
Mm.
crushes himself in the workout. Like, he misses a shot, he runs to the baseline, he runs to pick up a ball. Like, he's doing the little things that he knows he needs. And then we're competing. And one of the funnest games we played was, and Sam's always like to Stevie, like, hey, cross court slice backhand. He's like, I'm like, one of my youngest son was in with Stevie one day, and he's like, he looks at me and he goes, I think I got a better slice backhand than him. I'm like, I can promise you, you don't. And he's like, I'm like, hey, Stevie, this guy thinks he's got, but, like, one of the games we played this little slice. You slice the forehand, slice the backhand, mini tennis, full court.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
Sam and Steve are going nuts after it. And I mean, Sam wants to beat him so bad. And Stevie
I
is
love
so
that.
good with the intangibles. And Sam's trying so hard. I mean, I think we played up to 7, but it lasted like 5 minutes. I was like, guys, I think that was the best part of practice today. It was all downhill after that. But just to see them go after all those little things.
Yeah,
And it's you got to have the base, you got to have the serve, you got to have the forehand, but
yeah,
having those little parts to your game are just so important. And that kind of free spirit out there is so important. And that's hard to do sometimes in an academy or a
Yeah.
clinic setting. So
Yeah, and I
I
love
got
to
to
play,
go.
as I said, mini tennis, slice, all those intangibles, as you said. I think that's a big part of the development for the kids as well.
Yeah.
Big, big, big.
I mean, I
Well,
didn't realize Instagram Live used so much battery. I'm like flying through this thing.
yeah,
It's so
yeah, we
funny.
are. Yeah, I'll get kicked out of my club now too because we're gonna close in 20 minutes. So,
Oh, okay.
so
I got to
Peter.
charge in. I'm going to lose. I'm going to change scenery. I'm going from my backyard. Here's my pooches. They're like big part of my life right there. Father, son.
Love it.
Um, and, but yeah, keep going.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to tell you thanks so much. For me, knowing Andy Brandy well, and Brian Boland a little bit, so I got to know you a little bit on here. So three great coaches, every person a little bit different, obviously, and that's an honor, really an honor to me, and I can't thank you enough that you took your time, and I really hope that we stay connected, and you send me every now and then some things because I wanna have those new ideas.
I
That would be
mean,
fun.
look, dude, I got to pay back something.
Yeah.
I've taken more than like 10 ideas from you, way more than 10. So, if I can just give you like 20% of what you've given me, then,
Man, that really
then
means,
it's good.
you know, that means the world to me. Like you know, I can't tell you how much that means to me because, I would keep, even if I wouldn't hear anything like that, I would keep going every day in and out because I love tennis so much. And, I found a niche, what people want. But I can't tell you how good that feels, to hear that, and especially from one of the best coaches out there. And it's just an honor.
Hey, I'm just a guy who likes tennis and likes helping people. And,
Same
I've
here.
been fortunate, I've been fortunate to have some good people, and, every dog finds a bone. But, so like I said, total honor being on here. I had a blast,
Thanks.
whatever I can ever do for anybody, so you keep doing you.
I will. You keep doing you, and we're gonna meet. We're gonna meet for sure. So I can't wait to meet you in person, man. That's all. I can't wait.
Man, I just, to everybody out there, like, we got to just hang tough. We got to hang
Yeah.
together. I mean, LA is like talking about like stay-at-home orders again. I'm like, whoa, put a mask on, take care of business, forget about the politics. Let's just take care of each other.
Yeah.
I got a fashionable one, man. Everyone like you used to be like phone, wallet, keys. Now it's phone, wallet, keys, mask.
But I can't even
Look at
show
me.
mine. I don't get paid for it. All right. There's just a friend of mine is a distributor. All the kids sleep hopefully already. But
Hey, I paid for mine, so good stuff.
well, Peter, you're awesome, man. So yeah, as I said, we're gonna meet. I know that for sure. If you ever need anything, if I can do anything, don't hesitate. I'm always here, and I know we're gonna meet soon.
Cool, man. All the best to everyone, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Peter.
All right, see ya.